All right, today we're going undercover. We're diving deep into the digital world to become software detectives. And our mission is to hunt down those elusive and sometimes really destructive culprits we call bugs. So let's just start with the stakes here, because wow, are they high? We're not just talking about your phone freezing for a second. This quote, it's about the Ariane 5 rocket disaster. A single tiny software error that nobody caught, a missed digital clue, led to a catastrophic $500 million explosion. That's the world we're getting into today. So the big question is, what's stopping that same kind of disaster from happening to the banking app on your phone or the software running your car? Well, the answer is a whole team of dedicated pros. They're part architect, part field agent, and part inspector, and their entire job is to hunt down these bugs before they can do any damage. To really get what they do, we first have to understand the scene of the crime. You got to think of every piece of software, from a simple game to a massive financial system, as a potential crime scene where these bugs can just lurk, waiting for their moment to strike. In any investigation, you've got to know the lingo. A software crime starts with a defect. That's the flaw in the blueprint, deep in the code. If that defect gets triggered, it can cause an error. Basically, the system gets confused internally. And if that error makes it all the way to you, the user, that's what we call a failure. It's like a digital chain of evidence, a domino effect, leading right to the crime itself. So who exactly are the detectives on this digital beat? Well, it's not just one person. It's a specialized team, and each member has a really crucial role in keeping law and order in the world of code. First up, you've got the quality assurance, or QA professional. I like to think of them as the architect. Their job isn't just to find bugs. It's to design a system where bugs have a really hard time showing up in the first place. They set the rules, the standards, the procedures. They're essentially building a precinct that's designed for safety from the ground up. Next, we've got our field agent, the software tester. This is where the real hands-on detective work comes in. Their mission is to be on the front lines, running the program with the specific goal of finding errors. I mean, think about that. For a tester, a successful day at the office is when they find a bug. They're literally trying to break the software so it can be fixed before it ever gets to you. And rounding out the team, there's the systems auditor, who I call the inspector. This person takes a huge step back to look at the big picture. They're not just checking the code, they're evaluating the entire system, the processes, the security, the controls, to make sure the whole operation is running by the book. They're auditing the entire precinct, making sure everyone is doing their job right. Okay, just like a real police investigation, good software development can't just be chaos, right? It needs to follow a clear set of procedures, a rulebook, to make sure everything is consistent and high quality. This is the playbook our detectives live by. This shows you the journey from total chaos to a well-oiled machine. You start at the initial level, which is basically the Wild West, unpredictable, relying on one person's heroics. Then a team gets to managed, where they have some basic project management so they can repeat what worked before. At defined, things get serious. The process is standardized for everyone. Then it gets really advanced. At measured, they use hard data to control everything. And finally, at optimizing, they're using that data to constantly get better and prevent crimes before they even happen. All right, now for the really fun part, the active investigation. This is where our detectives put the software on the witness stand and start grilling it to find the truth. The whole interrogation really boils down to two crucial but very different questions. Verification asks, are we building the product right? Basically, does it match the blueprints? But then validation asks, are we building the right product? Does this thing actually solve the user's problem? See the difference? You could build a flawless product that nobody actually needs. You absolutely have to have both. So how do they get these answers? Well, they've got two main interrogation techniques. With black box testing, the detective is flying blind. They have no idea what's going on inside the code. They just test inputs and outputs just like you would. But with white box testing, they've got the blueprints. They have full access to the code and they can trace every single pathway and line of logic to make sure it's all sound. But a really thorough investigation, it goes way beyond just the code itself. Our inspector needs to conduct a full audit of the entire environment to make sure everything is totally secure and has integrity. This is where it gets really comprehensive. They're checking for data integrity. Are the evidence files, the data itself, accurate and safe? They're doing an information security audit. Is the digital precinct locked down tight against intruders? What about physical security? Are the actual computers and data centers protected from things like theft or floods? And finally, a development audit. Did the team even follow the official procedure from the very start of the case? So we've seen how our software detectives hunt down bugs, but here's the real twist. The ultimate goal isn't just solving these crimes, it's about stopping them before they can ever even happen. And why is prevention so critical? Well, take a look at this. It all comes down to cost. A bug found right at the beginning in the requirements phase, super cheap to fix. No big deal. But that exact same bug, if it makes it all the way into a live system, like that rocket, the cost to fix it just skyrockets. We're talking exponentially more. And that really brings us to the heart of the matter. The best teams, the ones who are really at the top of their game, are shifting their mindset. They're not just playing defense and reacting to bugs. They're playing offense, creating a process so strong that defects are prevented from ever even being born. And that leaves us with one final thought, right? The best detectives aren't the ones who solve the most crimes. They're the ones whose precincts are so well run that crimes rarely happen in the first place. So the next time you open your favorite app, ask yourself, was this thing just getting by, or was it built by a team of detectives who are obsessed with preventing the crime?